When, Reza, when? Enough with the teasing already! This video is dedicated to the memory of Tony Todd, fantastic Candyman, and even more impressive old Jake Sisko. Greetings Rummy, you're watching Rum, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing and our regular news roundup, our weekly sim racing news. Thanks to all those who come here often, especially those who subscribe, and even more, our patrons. My name is Serta and I will be your host for this video. So, Automobilista 2. Reza released not a full dev blog, but just a bit about which cars are going to be released whenever the now rather infamous 1.6 may be released. Assorted channels have been given the go-ahead to publish content, so maybe the release is soon to appear? Ish? You never know, and Reza's Automobilista 2 timing is as dodgy as the Duke Nukem Forever timing. Go ahead and check it on Wikipedia. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed the unending amount of content we published from the Sim Racing Expo. See the playlist up there. While that specific line of content has now all but closed, we are lining up even more content day by day. So be sure to subscribe because wondrous things are up ahead. And if you like what we've been doing and would like us delivering even more, becoming a patron sure helps us finance the travel and lodging for expos and will support further expansion of our possibilities, so give it a thought if you can afford it. While you are thinking about what level of patronage you want to choose, here's the news. Now look at that, Ubisoft is facing a class action suit for shooting down the crew. Two players who saw the game erased from their libraries allege Ubisoft duped consumers by not informing players they might close down the servers and render the game unplayable at any point in the future. Also, distributing the game on discs, they allege, misled players into thinking that as long as they had the disc, they could play the game forever. Also, they allege users may have thought they owned the game because of the above facts. As we have said many times, software has always been legally sold as a license to use it for a certain amount of time, in some cases indefinitely. Games are software and no exception to this rule. You don't own any of the games you have in your archive which you haven't programmed yourself. You only own licenses which in many cases can be revoked. If the suit is allowed to go further, it will be up for a jury to decide if Ubisoft misled those paying for the crew into thinking they could play the game forever. A decision here may have far-reaching consequences and for sure will make many more people aware they don't legally own any of the games they have transferred money for. Even then, when they own a hard copy with the game on it. The plaintiffs, by the way, have opened up the suit to allow for anybody to add themselves to the suit according to California laws, making it a class action suit. Many people in the know have been fighting for the laws to catch up to the 21st century and, for example, allow abandonware to be copied freely and for companies to release the code of games they declare end of life to the public domain. Imagine what clever developers could do to Assetto Corsa or R-Factor 2 if the code was released to the public. Considering what Ilya has done to Assetto Corsa without access to the code, one can only imagine. But in the world we live in, corporations think they own ideas and call them intellectual property and lobby politicians who already are struggling to understand these new-fangled computer thingies, the interweb tubes, not to speak of smartphones. 80-year-olds deciding on things they do not comprehend and can't grasp. Or as is the case in Europe with commissioners like the prospective digital commissioner Henna Virkkunen having sold her soul to big digital corporations and F the citizens she should be representing. It's not as if there would not be legal concepts on how to deal with anything created by an individual or a group that benefit the creatives and the general public. But we all know money talks, big money talks even louder. Ubisoft won't change their ways even after getting hit with a class action suit, not even if they lose, but it may move the one or the other politician to rethink their opinion on software. One can only hope. And on the other side, we have the fantastic example of Epic being completely okay with the fact that the Internet Archive has Unreal Gold and Unreal Tournament free. Sure, the games are old, but we'd hope more developing studios would follow Epic's lead. Le Mans Ultimate once again with a very tiny update fixing memory leaks in systems using AMD CPUs, and now the post-race online results will be shown. Among other things, iRacing released a very important feature in their newest patch, two-factor authentication, 2FA for short. These will make logging into iRacing more secure while bringing just a tad more of a hassle. But believe me, it's really worth it. My recommendation to anyone on iRacing is to activate two-factor authentication as soon as possible. This will also mean updating the iRacing companion app, by the way. Other changes in this update are the elimination of a bug that resulted in your car flying up in the sky when having a bit of damage and encountering a tiny problem on the track. Also, race starts from the pits are now possible for the whole field. Diverse bugs were fixed in the Dallara IR18, the Ford Mustang GT3, the Mini and the Super Formula SF23. Added to that, Cadwell Park and Spa 2024 saw some assorted bugs also being eliminated. Race Room, which you may have seen on our video, see the link up there, is moving towards DX12. This week released the whole of the 2024 DTM cars, liveries and teams, as well as updated Zandvoort and Oschersleben tracks. While they were at it, the developers of course also patched some things here and there. The AI on Avus now behaves better, as they do also on Chang, Bathurst, Imola, Paul Ricard, Salzburg and Slovakia Ring, as well as some texture changes to Crosley. Hockenheim has been updated to the 2024 changes, and some graphic changes and corrections were done to the track. Kinda the same was done to Zandvoort 2019, and the Volkswagen Scirocco Group 2 also saw some graphics changes. And Race Room has more content planned that is expected to be released on December. Unluckily, we can't tell you more right now, we have to wait until next week for that. Sorry. Racer's Renato Simeoni dropped another breadcrumb of information about the 1.6 version that may or may not be released in this century. We now know which DLCs and cars will come within the 1.6. Of course, no mention of when it will be released. Between now and the year 2525, all bets are open. The first DLC comes as no surprise to anyone paying attention to anything Automobilista 2. The Lamborghini Dream Pack 1 will bring the Lamborghini SC63, which should rather be called Ligier Lamborghini, from the IMSA 2024 season, although you may have seen it and especially heard it in this year's Le Mans 24. We'll also see the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo 2 and the similar but not quite same Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2. Last in this pack will be the 2014 Lamborghini Veneno Roadster with open top, saving you $4 million. This first DLC is expected to cost €10 USD, and Reza gave us a glimpse of the next DLC by saying it will include 4 more Lamborghini. Moving on to the Endurance Pack Part 2, which will bring the Alpine A424, which has an Oreca chassis and which finished a respectable 4th overall in the 2024 WEC, as well as the Oreca 07. Funnily, you could almost make 5 different cars with the right liveries, as many other cars in IMSA use the chassis and even the complete car of the Oreca. And the Ligier JS P217, which raced from 2017 till 2022. And then the Audi R8 LMS GT3 Evo, as we already said in the news. And I know Cody is going to be stoked seeing the Corvette Z06 GT3R enter the game. This Endurance Pack Part 2 will also cost €10 USD. But not all is going to be DLCs. Entering the GT3 Gen 1 class will be the Audi R8 LMS GT3, and the Audi Quattro V8 will be added to the Group A class. The Audi R8 LMS GT4 will be added to the GT4 class. The Ligier JS P320 and LMP3, which will be added to the P1 Gen 2 class. All of these cars free of charge. Ending this list will be the Corvette C3R, a favorite of mine in GT Classics, with two versions. One with open top, as you can see in the picture, and another with a closed top. As I said, what we don't get, despite all the other information, is a delivery date. But what I can say from the trenches of the beta is that work is being done, finishing up the multiplayer code, as well as some tweaks in the AI. And I honestly can't tell you more, because even the devs don't know more. Some of them expected the 1.6 to be released in or shortly after last weekend, so